I have been having some technical problems here, and now it looks like I'm back in service. Um, Let me just say this. Today, I had an opportunity to go into my yard, and I did a lot of cleanup, which is basically just cutting all the weeds and grass down uh, so that I have plenty fertilizer for the garden. I pay close attention to everything that's happening on my property, which is the soil looks good, everything's growing well, um, and I had to go back to the far end of my property to check on my grapevines, and my grapevines are doing quite well, and so is my kiwi plant doing quite well. Um, I am in good shape. I mean, I'm getting everything in for fall, which, as I said earlier, a part of this year, I was doing kale and collard greens. The primary vegetable that will always be in my garden, and that is kale. Um, I started also growing something called tree kale, and tree kale is uh, basically a plant that goes by the name of kale because it has same similarities as kale. It has a taller stalk, if you will, the way it grows. It has the ability to also cross with other plants that are in the same family. I've seen people with tree kale on some of their videos, and it would be um, a plant that had basically uh, it looks similar to collard greens on one video, and then the other one would be it would look kind of wrinkled like kale or like spinach. They have a spinach that I just ordered online, and it's I don't know its full name right at this moment, but it's called giant kale, giant kale something. But um, I found it and I ordered it, and I was going to order it on rareseeds.com, but they were, say the least, they were pricey. So I decided not to order with them, and I went with another company. Um, but giant kale is what I've read about it is that it's very durable for the cold season. It has the ability to survive. And I said, okay, this is something I'm interested in. A plant that would withstand cold. Um, Another plant that has that ability is kale. Kale can go all the way through winter in if you plant it in the right location and the right variety of kale can grow all the way through winter. Not grow, but it'll be alive when spring comes in. Um, Collard greens, some collard greens do that as well. But what I'm getting now is um, quite a few people that are coming to me and asking me questions about doing a fall crop. And I said, well, you should. You should absolutely do some kind of greens, or if you do some kind of Brussels sprouts or something like that. There are quite a few different types of plants that you can grow in the absolute cool part of the year, and that's something that I'm going to take full advantage of. Um, they are easy to grow. Kale is easy to grow. Kale is a very durable plant when it comes to, when the weather starts getting a little cold, and it is very, very healthy for you to eat. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and I enjoy eating kale, collard greens as well, um, and the toughest plant that I've had issues with was always spinach. But I'm going to give this giant spinach a try because some of the videos I've seen, the leaves are absolutely huge. The leaves on this spinach, and that alone got my attention. And I'm thinking about growing it in containers because less bother. In a soil where I have to pick through and go through weeds. I don't want to do that. I want to grow it in a container. I have more control over it, and those will be videotaped, and also I will do um, uh, some shots on how I'm going to plant them and what method I'm going to use. My whole methodology when it comes to plants is to make sure they have what they need, and and that alone is what is most important. Plants will perform well if you give them what they need, and if you don't, and if you ignore things like not doing soil check, not doing soil samples, tilling a lot, you can destroy your soil. I mean, you can always bring it back, but you'll set your soil back because your soul is alive. And when I say that, I mean it's alive, and it actually has so much life in it that when you rip through it with a tiller, you're actually destroying the areas and the homes and where these animals live. They live in the soil, and so I try my absolute best for the last 5 years to not touch anything dealing with tilling. I don't do that. I sold my tiller. I had a beautiful Craftsman, and I sold it. And I put it online, and I think they picked it up the next day because it was spring, and they wanted a tiller, and I gave it to the guy for a good price. I didn't know how to price it, but um, I gave it to him, and he loaded it in the trunk, and he was gone. So I thought that was that he was happy with it. We cranked it up before he pulled off, and he was quite happy with it. The tiller, the way it ran and performed. I always kept clean oil in it. Always kept clean oil, fresh spark plug, fresh um, what do they call it? Air filter. So that's how we do it. I still have some cucumbers growing outside. I still have those coming on. There's still a few apples on the apple trees. I did trim, excuse me, not trim, but I did prune my cherry trees and my apple trees. Mainly my apple trees were pruned because uh, they are very healthy. I mean, the trees I put in, I got those at Stark Brothers, and Stark Brothers sold me some good trees, and I'm very happy with them. Um, I have some pear trees I got from them, and those were dwarfs, but they got 20 feet tall because they enjoyed the environment they were in. They had what they wanted in that soil, and they grew 20 feet tall. Um, my cherry tree is a dwarf. It got up to 17, 18 feet tall. And I like to keep them down around a little over 6.5 feet tall. I don't like my trees tall because I refuse to climb when it comes to getting the food. And plus, I found that birds spend a lot less time messing with your fruit when you keep them low. Birds don't like to feed when it's very low to the ground. It's 5 and 6 feet tall because they like to be up high away from people. Well, I guess that's it for today. This has been the Morning Gardener.